Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of the Query Diaries. So this is a series where I'm going to be taking you guys through the process of writing my first query, or my first, serious query, because I have written queries before, but this is the first one where I want to go ham sending them to agents. We want this query to be perfection. So the first episode I will link down below if you want to check that out. In that episode I did some basic research and I talked a little bit about my book in more detail, so if you want to see that, it'll be down below. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit more research and I'm going to start thinking about querying and how I want to write the query. So the main reason why I haven't really been focusing on this query is because I wanted to focus more on finishing my poetry collection, Poems Worth Saving. And now that that has been completed, although the formatting still needs to be done, but at the very least, the creative part of it is done, I think I can focus a little bit more on this query. Another thing that really pushed me into working on this again was that one of my Twitter friends was asking if anybody wanted to swap queries, and I said yes I would, although my query is not yet written. And so now the time has come for me to write this query so that I can send her my end of the swap. So since we last spoke, what have I been doing with this thing? Not much. I started to reread the first 3 chapters because my friend sent me her query and also the first 3 chapters of her book. Then I started to look at my first 3 chapters and I noticed that there were some problems. Just very minor ones. One thing that I noticed in particular was that a lot of my sentences at the beginning were kind of choppy. And in addition, I've realized that the feelings that the narrator is experiencing in the first couple chapters are not super apparent. And I feel like in the later part of the book, when the main plot kicks off and the romance starts up, the narrator becomes a lot more open in his narration to talking about his feelings and everything. For the first part, he feels very closed off to the reader, and he is a very closed off character to his friends, but it doesn't mean that it has to translate into his narration. So I've been writing a little bit of that, not much, just in various places. The second chapter starts up with the main character meeting his friend, because they always drive to school together. There's a line in it where he said she didn't really talk that much, which was fine. So I wanted to add a little bit more as to why it was fine that she didn't want to talk to him that day, or that they weren't talking about anything of importance, because he doesn't want to accidentally reveal this part of himself that he is trying to hide from his friends because he's afraid they won't accept him. So I wanted to make that a little bit more clear, and I've been fixing that up. But for the most part, everything is staying the same, and I don't intend to fully edit the manuscript, but I think maybe the first few chapters are the ones that suffer the most. Strangely enough, I don't know, maybe I'm just picking at things that I shouldn't be picking at, but I'm doing it. So I've been working on getting the first 3 chapters up to snuff so that I can ship them off to my friend, but I also need to write the query. Last time I was looking at successful queries on the Writer's Digest website, so let's look at a few more today and see what they're all about and see if they can help me out a little bit. So let's read one by Whitney Gardner. So she's the author of Your Welcome Universe, which I have heard of. So let's see what she did for her query. The first thing that I read was the query from Whitney Gardner, who wrote Your Welcome Universe. Her query started out in a really unique way. She said to the agent, "Thank you for your book recs on Twitter." I like how she included that, kind of establishing that she has a connection to his previous work. Not only just his work, but also the things that he likes. So then Brent Taylor, her agent, had some interesting comments. He said that in the query, she shows what the high stakes are in the book. In this book, Julia has to show up her rival who has been tagging her street art, basically, and that's her main motivation is artistic pride, which I thought was cool. And she also closed this query with a good sense of what the story is about and what the very essence of the story is, like the heart of the story. She also had a comparison in the book to The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, and so that showed him that she had a good idea about the YA market. She made an interesting connection to him that he wanted to explore further when he picked up the book. So the second query that I read was for the book The Heir and the Spare, which was written by Emily Albright, and the agent is Jessica Watterson. What I thought was cool about this query is that she just starts right away. She didn't start out with, hello, like, my name is blah blah blah, and I have this book that is kind of like this, that I think you will like because of these reasons. She just started right away with the pitch of the book. I haven't seen that before, and it definitely caught my attention, and it probably caught the agent's attention as well. She also made a comparison to Anna and the French Kiss and the Princess Diaries for her book, which already gives you a good idea of what the book is going to be about and who would like to read this book. And she also mentioned how the book was really good for fans of these two mediums who are a little bit older and want to read things that are similar but a little more mature, and I thought that was cool as well. And overall, her query was just very snappy, very to the point, and it made the agent want to read more, and when she finally did read more, she was instantly drawn into this person's work. So after reading these two queries, and after reading the previous queries that I've read before, I have done a little bit of reading here and there off camera as well, and mainly the three questions I think that I need to answer today in order to properly write this query are: what is the heart of the story? How are the stakes in the plot raised? What books are similar? What is the heart of the story is such a hard question. What is really important in the story is the relationship that Julian has with his parents. Not so much him coming out and him being open to his friends, because what am I saying? Okay. So while the coming out arc in the story is extremely important for Julian as a character, I think at the heart of it, what's the most hard for him and the most challenging thing is opening up to both of his parents, allowing them into his life again, which includes him coming out, but also includes just trusting them with other information as well. This book is not like a discovery book. Like, he already knows who he is. He's just like really scared of what he knows. But I think the main conflict is in fact between him and his mom, and the fact that he's just really terrified of letting his mom down and disappointing her. So I'm gonna write that down. Okay, what is the heart of the story? Opening up to parents after years of closing himself off. Also, just in general, self-love. Maybe that's the heart of the story. Self-love, that he feels comfortable enough with himself, that he like respects himself enough to finally... Yeah, that's what it is. No, yeah. Fuck. Okay. Just had a revelation. There's a part towards the end of the book. I'm going to try and avoid spoilers, but basically Julian's been struggling to come out to this one person in particular for various reasons, and finally when he does, this person doesn't really want to accept the fact that he's bisexual, and he basically has this moment where he's like, no, I can't be friends with somebody who doesn't believe that. So the heart of the story really is the fact that he respects himself enough and he loves himself enough to let somebody go because they can't accept him. So in part it is definitely him opening up to his parents, but it's ultimately a story about self-love. Oh my god! I can't believe I figured that out right now. How beautiful is that? So the heart of the story is definitely a character's journey towards self-love and what that entails. Okay, cool. So how are the stakes in the story raised? Good question. I think definitely what raises the stakes in the story, what definitely propels his storyline forward, is the fact that he gets cast in this play, and that one of the major characters that he works with a lot is somebody that he really has a crush on, and it makes it really hard for him to ignore who he is or hide who he is because he just really likes this guy a lot. Hamlet casting. Crush he can't ignore because they have to spend so much time together. Okay, so what books are similar? So when I was reshaping the story, what really influenced me was Hamlet, which is in the story as well. They do have a production of Hamlet, but I definitely like kind of fitted certain characters around the archetypes in Hamlet in certain situations as well. I definitely based Julian a little bit off of Hamlet, like the fact that, you know, Hamlet overthinks everything and he lives very internally. He struggles a lot with that and a lot with the relationship that he had with his father, who is now gone. It's not Hamlet word for word, but there's definitely some stuff in there. Hamlet meets... The only book that I've ever read that I felt was similar to this book for me was The Vast Fields of Ordinary by Nick Bird. Just like the way that it was written, the style that it's written in is kind of similar to how I write, so definitely not the same story, but there's a lot of similarities in like the way that I write, the way that the Nick Bird write, but also like in the setting. We'll keep it at this, but I'm gonna keep reading, obviously. I read all the time. We're gonna keep reading and see if something else pops up. There are some agents that might be cool with a less common YA book being thrown in there. And I guess then it shows that I've done my research in LGBT YA. Okay, so that is complete. I feel a lot better just because I answered those questions, and I think that next time I'm going to actually write the query, but in half an hour I have to leave to go to work, so I'm not going to even start because I don't want to get involved in something and then be late for work. So I will talk to you guys next time, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know how your query writing process is going, if you are also doing this as well, and I hope you have a great day. Bye!